And I think we are live. Alright, so I got everything out. Let everybody know that needs to know that we are live. Hopefully everything is going well. Got some questions that I'll be answering this evening. Originally I was going to wear my new Trick of the Tail t-shirt, but it's a little snug. It's very form-fitting, and for pajamas, that's not my jam. So I'm just wearing my Blue Jays jersey with my buddy, what's his name, the 2-5 tour, the 25th anniversary tour. So that's what we got going on here. So yeah, I'm just listening to some tunes. There's not going to be any kind of, I guess, pre-arranged. Well, there is a pre-arranged playlist that we'll be listening to. The playlist that we are listening to is my new Happy Tunes. So I might be commenting about that when a specific track or two come up, just if there's a lull in the conversation. So pretty stoked about that. This will be actually my 18th Happy Tunes. I know last year we live streamed the last Happy Tunes that I created, a little bit of background information, just as we wait for people to come on in and get those questions going. Leave the questions down in the chat box, because I'll be doing all that, keeping an eye on that chat box for all them questions. So yeah, once a year I create a Happy Tunes playlist. I've been doing this, this is the 18th one, so I've been doing this upwards to 18 years. It's crazy talk. So yeah, I'm going to keep an eye on the chat, so keep them chats going. I've got a few questions already primed, just in case there's ever a lull, but let's get those questions coming, because I want to have this more of a dialogue rather than a let's just see what Twitter has offered for me. And it looks like Adam has asked, first question, have you heard Heart in Hand? Is that the new Opeth track? Because I know a lot of people have been asking me about the Opeth track, and unfortunately, well, I know this question is going to come up, and I'm probably going to be answering it a couple of times. In terms of the Opeth question. No, I haven't heard it, and there's a specific reason for that. Let me know, though, Adam, if it isn't, because I honestly haven't done any research about that. So with albums nowadays, I've shied away from listening to any promotional tracks, any leaked footage, anything that not necessarily spoils, but anything that kind of gives a hint about the taste of the album, whether it be promotional songs, whether it be anything along those lines. And the main reason for that is I find when I listen to an album out of context, like if I listen to a promotional song, or if I listen to like band interviews or anything like that, it will taint, not necessarily taint, but give me kind of a preconceived notion of what the album's supposed to be going in. And really, for me, it does one of two things. It either justifies the thought that I had, or it flies in the face of what I was thinking it was going to be. And both are not all that enjoyable experiences for me. So, like, if I, like, for example, when I was listening, well, anyway, so that's essentially the reason why. So no, I haven't heard it, and I don't plan on hearing it. I want to listen to the Opeth album in its entirety fresh. I don't want to hear anything from it going in, and that's just my own personal take on it. Let's see here. Joseph's asking where I got the Trick of the Tail t-shirt. I got that actually at a local record store here in Toronto called Sonic Boom. They have amazing t-shirts. They have a really big t-shirt display, and I'm seeing a lot more independent record stores in my city are doing that. There's another one that's I'm just going to move my microphone a little bit it's just really tight in there. Sorry about that. Just give me a second. Oh boy, come on. Unscrew. There we go. Just want to give a little bit more gain. There we go. Now you can hear me a little bit better. Yeah, I'm noticing a lot more used record stores and locally independently owned record stores are providing a lot more like paraphernalia and merch. Like there's one on Gerrard Street and Broadview called Pop, and they have a lot of really great t-shirts. So if you're ever in the Toronto area, pop in because they're really, really good. Let's see here. Bryson is saying that he saw Magma's MDK. You can't view it. Yeah. So unfortunately, Magma is very, very good at pulling videos that have any connotation linking back to their music. So that one got pinged probably like a day after that went live. So anybody that was able to actually see that live stream was able to hear my thoughts about it, but they pulled it out really quickly. And I mean, because of live streams, I don't mind if they do that. Steppenwolf's album got pulled because of that as well, which is a little bit of a shame, but I recognize it. I mean, I am using their material for my own videos, and I can almost guarantee you that this one will be pulled just based on some of the music that I've got in this playlist. Like, I can guarantee you. So the 13 people that are watching right now, this is it. Like, you're not going to be able to rewatch this, so enjoy it while you can. Yeah, Magma's album was interesting. I'm not a big fan of Magma or the Zool type of music. It's very abrasive, very bombastic, very in your face, layers upon layers upon layers of noise and sound that will take a lot of time to really digest, and I just don't really have the time or initial reaction that I was really hoping for. So yeah, that's about it for Magma and their MDK album. Really, really fun about that, though. I enjoyed my time while I was in there. Let's see here. Opus new song. Right. Okay. Favorite Muse album? Probably... Ooh, it keeps going back and forth between Origins of Symmetry or Absolution. Although, probably Absolution will win out because that was the first one I heard from them. And I've got some really, really good memories of that album when it came out. So, and where I was when I heard it. That's when I was living up in Sudbury for a couple of years. So, really in a good headspace for that album. Have you ever heard "Give It Up" by Postal Service? No, I haven't. Hey, Third Degree is watching. Welcome, Third Degree. Love your stuff, man. Your albums, ones and zeros, parts 1 and 0 were. I mean, part 0 was fantastic. You guys should be really, really proud of that work. I'm having a great summer so far in Toronto. I will check out your town's 4:30. I haven't checked it out yet, but I definitely will. I'll make a note of that. If it's anything like your other stuff, I definitely will. Yeah, because I'm sure you guys saw in my reviews of some of your albums. But I was originally introduced by your song "It Works." Way back in the day when I was really getting into Prog archives. And it's funny, what I would actually do is when you would stream music off of Prog archives, because at the time they used to have like you can listen and stream tracks off of their website. They would actually save the song onto your hard drive in a temporary folder. So I would go into that temporary folder and download all the songs that I was listening to, and I clearly remember Third Degree's "It Works" was one of the first ones that I scooped up. So I apologize, Third Degree, that I low-key pirated your one song, going back probably about 8-9 years ago. Probably even more, probably about 10, because I must have been like 18 or 19 at the time. So yeah, I really remember that. I don't know why. Let's see here. Yeah, Adam, I agree. Bands that do that are blocking fan promotion, but I mean that's what they're going to do. That's totally in their warehouse to do, and I can understand their justification. We're talking about like Magma pulling my live stream of their album. I can understand the justification for it. I do understand where they're coming from in that sense. So totally in the right wheelhouse to do that. I don't blame them at all for doing it. So have at her. Favorite Phil Collins and Peter Gabriel solo albums? Well, I keep going back and forth for Peter Gabriel, whether I like Up or I like his first one more. Probably his first one. Yeah, I'll go on the record and say that Peter Gabriel's first one, the Car album, is probably my favorite. Phil Collins, I'm not too familiar with his solo project as much. I have to be perfectly honest, I've never actually sat down and listened to a full Phil Collins album, so I can't really say one way or another. Okay, Joseph, I'm just going to read this because it's a lot and I don't want to skim. So Joseph's comment is, so I have this really bad problem of falling in love with a song only when I hear it and overplaying it and almost ruin it for me. Is there a good way to avoid that? Because I can't help it. Oh, Joseph, that is a great question, because the same thing happened to me. There's a song, who was it by? This was a couple years ago. And I fell in love with the album, but specifically for one song. And I listened to that song on repeat over and over and over and over again because I loved it so much. But then once that initial love stopped, or it finally ran its course, I go back to it. I'm like, it's all right, but it's not. It's almost like a flash in the pan, right? So anything that you can do to avoid that happening, it's really hard. It really is. Once you get bitten by that bug that you got to hear it over and over again, it's really hard to resist. All that I can recommend, and there's two things that I can recommend for this. One is, get it out of your system and then just kind of put it on the shelf and kind of forget about it. And then when a couple years go by, because you're always going to be inundated with different music, right? So you're never going to be of want of music. But you'll get a little scratch at the back of your mind, maybe 2, 3, maybe even 4 years later on. And you'll want to hear it again, and that's when you can reintroduce yourself to that song or that album and really fall back in love with it. This is what happened to me and Night at the Opera and Led Zeppelin's 4, because damn, I used to listen to those albums every day when I was back in grade 11 and 12, to the point where I couldn't listen to Bohemian Rhapsody or Stairway to Heaven, and this is a common problem, right? Because you start hearing those and then you're just but then, just this summer, I've really gotten back into Led Zeppelin's 4. So that's kind of my one, I guess, tidbit. Because then I would go back and I really fell in love with, Bohemian Rhapsody all over again, just from Night at the Opera. And same with Led Zeppelin's 4. The other thing is to listen to those classic albums that you love while you're still in that heyday of the song, while you're really getting into it, and just kind of weed yourself off of it a little bit and then slowly and gradually put yourself back into it. I've never actually tried that before. Maybe I'll try that when I get another album or something like that stuck in my head, but yeah. Okay, so I'm going to rapid fire some of these quicker ones. Ian's asking, in the Court of the Crimson King or Red? Toughie, but at the end of the day, I gotta say Court of the Crimson King, even though Red is still so good. Let's see here. Hoping to do a worst of best of Riverside. Ooh, that would be a fun one, because they have some really, really good stuff. What's your favorite album of theirs? ADHD. Even though some people say it's an EP, but in my mind, it's a full-length album, because it does fit the runtime of a full-length album. And also let me know if the music is too loud, because there's a few songs on here that are louder than others. So do I like old school death metal? Yeah, it's alright, depends on the band. Third Degree 11, alright, I guess that's 11 years ago, so yeah. Pyramid Head, hey, what's up with you? My favorite Beatles album, probably Abbey Road. I love what they were doing on the second side there, kind of flowing from one piece to another piece to another piece seamlessly, almost like a single song. I wish they did take that extra step and made it one full song instead of making it more of a suite, and chopped up the songs individually. Okay, the music's a little bit too loud, so I'm going to turn it down just a bit. I was wondering about that, because that last song was a little loud. There we go. Okay, cool. Thank you for letting me know, and do let me know at any point if the... if it ever is too loud or too quiet. Now, obviously, right now it's really quiet because the songs fade out, but... so my favorite album of the Beatles is Abbey Road. Close second, though, would probably be the soundtrack to The Yellow Submarine, where the second side is all the... the soundscapes from the actual, the score of the movie. Really, really like that. Let's see here. What happened to me with Can Utility and the Coastliners? I don't know. I don't know what happened to you. Did you like it? I guess. Favorite Genesis pop album? Invisible Touch. Because it has Invisible Touch, Land of Confusion, and I believe, is that the one that ends with Congo? Or the Brazilian? No, Congo was on Calling All Stations. The Brazilian was the one that's on Invisible Touch, and I love the Brazilian. I think it's the Brazilian. Anyway, yeah, Invisible Touch. Really, really like Invisible Touch. Do I like Stranger Things? Yeah, I haven't seen seasons 2 or 3 yet, but I really, really liked season 1. I'm hoping to get around to watch season 2 and 3, because I hear there's a lot of Dungeons & Dragons references, and really, really like Dungeons & Dragons. I'm a huge D&D player. Play it, I mean, in my other life as a librarian, I actually run Dungeons & Dragons in the library for kids, as well as play it every Wednesday with a bunch of friends of mine. Although right now, it's going to show my nerd card, but we're also playing the Dresden Files RPG right now that I'm running. We're really enjoying that. That's a lot of fun. Now, I do remember somebody was asking about Asia, who, I'm just going to scroll up a little bit. Yeah, Adam was asking if I liked Asia, and I thought I saw Ian, or is Ian? Asia as well. An album by Asia called Asia in Asia. Greg Lake. Yeah, I know Asia. They were the ones that did The Heat of the Moment, right? Because that had, if I want to say that had Steve Howe. Did it have Steve Howe? I want to say it had Steve Howe. I know Greg Lake, John Wetton were definitely in that one. And who was the one on drums? Was that Carl Palmer? Yeah, because they were like marketed as like the ultimate supergroup. And here they were playing like all these radio-friendly pop songs. That was pretty hilarious. So I do enjoy them, but I'm not going to like run out. I mean, I love the fact that they put Roger Dean's artwork right on the center for all the prog heads. Like that iconic, like, is it a Hydra? That's right on the front cover there, that water dragon, prime Roger Dean artwork with all these like super big names from all the proggers, and they're coming out with all these radio accessible pop songs. Freaking love it. Let's see here. Have I ever considered doing a video on your top 10 favorite albums of all time? Yeah, I might do that. That'd be difficult, but yeah, I could probably do that. Let's see here. You read my thing about Can Unity wrong. I played that song so much I got bored of it. Oh, okay. Oh, sorry about that. Invisible Touch does end with Brazilian. Yeah, thanks for fact-checking that. Look into a band called Submarine Silence. Ooh, interesting. I might have to. Steve Howe on guitars and Carl on drums. Okay, I thought so. Steve Howe. I thought so. Okay, so yeah, as I mentioned right at the beginning, I'll probably be talking about the Opeth single a couple of times throughout this live stream. Long story short, no, I have not heard it. No, I will not listen to it, mainly because I don't want to be spoiled for the album. I want to listen to the album fully, in its entirety, completely fresh. And yeah, are you impatient to hear the new Tool album? No, I mean, I got into Tool after the big heyday. In fact, I think I got into Tool about 2008, 2009. Like, I always knew about Tool because a lot of my friends were really, really into them. But at the time, I was still really into, like, Genesis, Yes, Jethro Tull. And I found that Tool was just a little too dark, a little too angsty, a little too aggressive for my taste at the time. I was much more liking like the celebratory nature of music. I really liked the complexities of the music. So I really liked the positive atmosphere that a lot of these bands were bringing. And I felt like Tool was just a little bit too aggressive, a little bit too harsh, a little bit too oomph. Like the only bands that I was getting into at that time that were kind of along that same lines were like My Chemical Romance or who else would have been around that time? Like System of a Down. But even those guys, I would only like kind of touch and go. Like I wouldn't really like sit down and listen to them. Maybe even like Blackmore's Night or Evanescence or like those kind of more operatic black metal. So yeah, I didn't actually get into Tool until I moved away and went up to like university and lived on my own for a little bit and started to feel a little bit of that like angstiness that started to really get into it. And so yeah, that's when I really fell in love, and that was like 2008, 2009. So at that point I already knew that okay, Tool's just not going to be putting out a new album. So Yeah, so that's it. Let's see here. Okay, that was a long ramble. Let's see here. Can't wait any longer. Okay, do I like Nevermore? Nevermore. I haven't heard of Nevermore. That's all right. Adam is saying that I don't really like. I really like you. Sorry. Oh, see, when I first read that, I read that as I really don't like you. Sorry, dude. And I'm like, what? You don't like me? What did I do to you? But no, that's fine. Carly Rae is an acquired taste, especially within the prog atmosphere. I really dig her. I think she's great. Yeah, but uh-oh, drop my phone. Give me a second. My phone has some of the questions in case we ever got into a lull, and it looks like the chat has got into a little bit of a lull. So yeah, so I reached out to Twitter. I said to Twitter, you know, send me them questions, and I'll get to them. So I think I'm going to get to some of those now. Let's see what we've got in terms of a question, because looks like we've got 8 that responded to me. Woohoo! If you haven't already, follow me on Twitter. That's my little, pitch thing. Yeah, Seb was asking what my favorite B-side to a Genesis album was, or Genesis. Probably Elderlight Ale House? Twilight Ale House. Yeah, Elderlight. Yeah, Twilight Ale House, I think, was the B-side of I Know What You Like. Really, really like that one. Because I think the only one that I know of is like Match of the Day, which is Spot the Pigeon. And that was more of just like a straight up single. So yeah. What are my thoughts on this was by Patrick, and Patrick's a pretty vocal Twitter follower, so thank you, Patrick, for all that. He was saying, what are my thoughts on famous metal bands like the Big Four of thrash, being Metallica, Megadeth, Anthrax, and Slayer, and I don't know what this sounds like, or I don't know what this actually is, like the NWOBHM. If anybody wants to let me know what that is, because that's new to me. Like Iron Maiden, Judas Priest, Motorhead, Black Sabbath. I know it's not usually my style, but just want to know and ask. So, yeah, I mean, I grew up with Metallica. I think when I was like 7 or 8, I had their Black album and really, really liked it. So, yeah, I dig Metallica. Megadeth, I'm starting to really get into now because a coworker of mine way back in the day, Brian, he's been on here a couple of times. He got me into Megadeth. Anthrax and Slayer, I'm not too big of a fan of. I would prefer probably listening to like Iron Maiden and Judas Priest first. Black Sabbath is actually a lot of fun. I've actually seen Black Sabbath live when they were doing their 13 tour with Ozzy. That was a lot of fun. I really like Black Sabbath. Yeah, so that's that. Let's see here. Do I like the new Carly Rae album? It's taking a long time to grow on me, in all honesty. There's no real bangers. Like, each of her albums up to this point had always had like a really good banger on it. But I didn't really hear any bangers. In fact, there's another song on here, Cut to the Emotion, that she released as a single last year that I really, really dug. But nothing really from the new album that's really coming in. Let's see here. What's it going to take to get you to Prog stock? Saga, Brand X, Fido. I know. It's just, I really want to travel to a lot of these places. The problem is twofold. Time and money, both of which I don't have. Because I have 4 jobs, guys. My life is a little bit of a mess. So, like, just now, like just when I started live streaming, this was the first time I had some spare time in my day today on a Sunday. So if you could magically give me like a weekend of time, along with the all expense paid ability to go to some of these prog festivals, I would love to. I really would. Like, that's a dying wish of mine. I always said, like, had a genie and I had 3 wishes. One of them would be to go to Cruise to the Edge, because I think that would just be way, way too much fun. But I just don't have the cash flow and I don't have the time, unfortunately. I really wish I could, but yeah, I can't. Let's see here. Oh, that's what it stands for. The New Wave of British Heavy Metal. That makes so much sense. Okay. Yeah, although I thought Motorhead was American. Same, yeah. Because Lemmy, right? Anyway, I could be very, very wrong, and I'm very, very ignorant when it comes to that kind of stuff. So, oh, thank you guys for letting me know. Are you a musician yourself? And if yes, which instruments do you play? Yes, I am a musician. I am a master of the ukulele. That is no joke. I've been learning the ukulele since February of this year to help me out with my story times as a children's librarian. That is one of my hats that I wear within my 4 jobs that I currently am employed with. So yeah, that is the only musical instrument that I currently know how to play. I used to know how to play the saxophone because I learned that when I was in elementary school. And I also just would tinkle around on the piano because we had a stand-up piano in the house that I grew up in. But I never was formally trained on the piano. I maybe studied the saxophone for about a year. So yeah, that's about it. And Motorhead is British. Thank you. Yeah, like I said, very, very ignorant when it comes to that. Did you hear about the Deer Hunters vinyl with all the acts? Yeah, I heard about that. Really excited to hear how this thing was all going to finish off. As much as I really, really want to get that 6 vinyl set, or I guess it would be 5, I already have acts 4 and 5 on vinyl, so I would probably wait until they reissue them individually so I can pick up 1, 2, 3, and... yeah, 1, 2, and 3. And Patrick is here. Hey, Patrick, thank you again for your question. Hopefully you heard it when I answered it. So that is awesome. 4 part-time jobs. Yes. So I am a librarian. I sell shoes. I am a consultant when it comes to nonprofit organizations. So that's 3. I work for an organization called Gap Point Reach. And I did I already say a librarian? I think I might have already said a librarian. Yeah, then I also have this. I know it's not really a part-time job, but I am getting slightly paid for it, so that's also good. So anyway, I think that's 4, maybe 4 or 5. Favorite Renaissance album? Probably Scheherazade. I don't know, I keep going back between Scheherazade and Ashes Are Burning, because both are really, really good. Yeah, but I gotta say Scheherazade, because Scheherazade is just... that song, with a big climax at the end. Little bit of a water break there. So yeah, let's get back to some of the Twitter questions, because I know I said that I would get to them when I actually tweeted that. Favorite punk/hardcore record. Okay, so I'm not a big fan of punk or hardcore. I mean, as hardcore as I get is probably like the avant-garde hardcore, and I don't think that's really what he was getting at. Like, we're talking about like Swans, we're talking about like Scott Walker, but I don't think that's what he's getting at. I think punk in the terms of like Velvet Underground or Sex Pistols or Don't Mind the Buzzcocks, I believe was a Sex Pistols album. This just goes to show how much I know about it. But I mean, I really got into like the bubblegum punk from the 90s, like Blink-182 and Sum 41 and Green Day. And probably my favorite album out of all that was probably American Idiot and 21st Century Breakdown, like the 2 albums there, the 2 concept albums. Really, really enjoyed that. I know that's probably going to be a letdown for a lot of people, but yeah. Bryson is asking favorite Swans album. To Be Kind, because I just recently picked that up on vinyl. Really, really liked To Be Kind. I know the, what was it, the Burning Man? The one with the hand. That was alright. It wasn't quite on par with the other ones. I want to say that there's another one, though, and the name is escaping me. What was it? The Seer. That's another really good one. Like that trilogy, like starts with the Seer, goes to, goes to Be Kind, and then the Glowing Man. Those ones are really, really good. I know a lot of people really like soundtracks for the blind. It's all right. But that trilogy I really, really liked. And yeah, I know I listened a little bit to Filth, but yeah, it's a little too young for me. At least I was too young when they came out. Let's see here. What are your thoughts on Porcupine Tree albums not being on Spotify? Sad. It's very sad. Because which ones aren't there? Let's actually do a little bit of a checkup. I want to see which ones aren't there. Because they keep adding in... Because I want to say The Incident is... Yeah, I don't want to continue that. I'm just going to have a quick look to see what's actually... Porcupine Tree. Because last I checked, a lot of them were on. Like, a lot more than I thought they would be. Yeah, they took down Fear of a Bleak Planet, or Blank Planet. Although, Anesthesia Eyes is still on there, so I mean, basically it is on there. Yeah, that is sad. That, Deadwing is on there, so that's alright. Oh, no, Stupid Dream is on there. Voyage 34 is on there, so that's actually good. So yeah, it just looks like a few aren't on there. It just looks like their last two. Unless I'm missing something. Sky Moves Sideways is on there. Light Bulb Sun is on there. Yeah, it looks like there's a... But still sad. It's still sad. Let's see here. Off topic of favorite records from artists. What's your favorite Devin Townsend album? Yeah, it's a good thing that you said the whole discography. That's a good question. Favorite Devin Townsend. And I'm not going to include compilations, because Retinal Circus is probably my favorite. Either Teria, because it has that like beautiful 3 or 4 songs where it ends, like it's got True North and then it goes straight into Canada. And that's just a beautiful suite. But it's really hard to find like a solid start to finish album from Devin. Like, he'll have moments on every single one of his albums that just explode your mind, but overall for like a start to finish, there's always a low point. Like even Kai, and Kai is one of my favorite albums of all time. There's a little bit of a lull near the beginning to middle point, and it doesn't really pick back up again until Lady Helen. But Kai is also really up there. Probably Deconstruction. If I'm being perfectly honest, I think Deconstruction is probably my favorite of his, just because of how solid start to finish it is. I mean, Empath is really getting up there in terms of being really good, but even Empath has a little bit of a lull when we come into that longer 11-minute track on the second half of the album there. So yeah. Let's see here. Do I have a favorite My Chemical Romance? I do like My Chemical Romance. I really do. My favorite album from them... if pressed, probably The Black Parade. I really, really love Killjoys for just how different it is, how poppy and accessible it is. Three Cheers is the one that like I fell in love with when I was back in high school. But yeah, Black Parade, just because I listened to it when it came out and it just blew my mind. I still listen to a lot of those songs. Yeah, see, Adam already answered. Black Parade. See, perfect. Let's see. I haven't heard much from Devi, and I really liked Addicted. Yeah, Addicted is really a strong album. Yeah, it's very, very, that's actually part of his, quadrilogy? Because it's 4, right? It starts with Kai, goes into Addicted, then goes into Ghost and, Deconstruction. And I think he performed all 4 live on 4 consecutive nights by his, By a Thread live album. And I really liked, I'm trying to remember which one ended with, True North. That's probably my favorite rendition of that track. And Carl Smith, yo yourself. Ever heard of Rob Crow? No, I haven't. Yeah. Let's see here. Do I like REM? Yeah, they're all right. I mean, I like the sleep. I like when I'm asleep and I'm REM-y. But the actual band themselves, it's all right. Let's see here. Just got here after watching an amazing movie, Netflix, Spider Into the Spider-Verse. Yep, Spinobi, that is a brilliant movie. One of my favorite movies from last year. Those people over at Sony and the writers, because I think those writers also wrote the Lego movie. Like, they know their stuff. Like, holy jeez, they know their stuff. Let's see here. Yeah, Pyramid Head is saying that The Ocean Machine was his most steady and consistent record. Yeah, and you know what? Ocean Machine is one of his few albums that I just never got into. And that's not necessarily because it was bad. It was just I never had a chance. I never found it online. It's not on any of the streaming services. I couldn't find it at record shops. And at the time, I didn't really know how to find it. Yeah. I know he performed it live and they actually recorded it. But the mixing is all over the place on that. Like the drums, I actually did a full like review of that album, and I neglected to talk about the drumming, so I just never put it out because it's at this point kind of glaringly obvious. Let's see here. Adam is asking favorite album of all time, and it looks like people have answered, saying that it is in fact Selling England by the Pound. Yep, that's the album that changed my life. What do you think about the guest singers on the Devi album? Annika von Herzenberger, I think her name was. She is stunning in all senses of the word. Stunning. Just like he said it best, right? Like she has more metal mentality in her finger than most of us have in our entire essence. She is just stunning. Let's see here. Favorite film? Blade Runner's a good one. For sure, Blade Runner's a good one. That's an interesting question because I used to just say that Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind was my favorite. Because it was just like the perfect film for where I was when I saw it. But now, I don't know if I can say that. The only problem is I don't know what film would take its place. And I know I'm asked this question a lot. But I also really like Wall-E. I really like Amelie. I really like a lot of those like really happy movies. But I also like movies that like go on a journey, right? Like I really like those long journey films. Like James Cameron does those really well with like Titanic and The Abyss, and I even really like Avatar by him. I know people at this point are just like, it's so overrated. Why is it the most grossing film when you can't even? But I still love it. And Peter Jackson's King Kong for the same reason. So yeah, really like those movies. Let's see here. Gentle Storm was a really good concept album. If you haven't already checked that out, do so. It was her and Arjun Lucasen from Arion, their little project where they did the album twice, essentially. Once as more of an acoustic, mellow, atmospheric, and then one as like a brutal metal. Really good time. So let's see here. Fortunate studio production isn't all that good if you can record it. Yeah. Let's see here. Sent me an Instagram message. Oh, cool. Yeah, I don't check my Instagram all that often. I basically just update my Instagram with whatever I'm listening to on my turntable. So apologies. I'm really bad at that. Same with my Facebook. I very rarely ever go on my Facebook. Let's see. After the first time listened to Antimatter, are you interested in checking out more of their discography? I haven't had the chance to check out anything else from Antimatter, even though I really enjoyed my time while I was doing my live stream. I really enjoyed that. But yeah, I just haven't had a chance to check it out. All right, let's see here. I got a couple more of those questions from here. Because All Media Reviews, he's got a picture of David Hasselhoff. Love that. Was saying, have I ever heard of Dirt Poor Robins? I have not. He says that they're highly recommended. Somebody had already asked, Ben had already asked if I had seen Stranger Things and my thoughts on it. As I mentioned, I saw the first season, really loved it. I haven't had a chance to really go and watch the second and third season for reasons that I've already laid out. Got no time. Let's see here. And somebody was also asking, Ethan was asking, where would I put Dream Theater's newest album from my worst to the best? I believe I covered this last time on my live stream, probably in and around where Falling Into Infinity is. I'd probably put it at level with Falling Into Infinity, maybe a little bit higher, maybe a little bit lower, depending on my mood, because both feel very similar. So yeah, probably around there. Let's see here. Any other favorite Haken record? Ooh, Aquarius. I mean, that and The Mountain keep doing this on me, but Aquarius at the end of the day, that's the one that no matter how often I listen to it, Celestial Elixir just makes me weep by the end of it. I mean, Visions the song does as well, but overall as an album, that one is as well. Annika has also done vocal works on Amphros, Oh, cool. As an 11-year-old Prog fan, 11 years old, Ian, you're a baby. Oh my gosh, you're so young. Oh boy. Okay. Let's see here. I don't know many people my age that have similar tastes in music as me. Do you? Well, I mean, if you're watching my reviews, probably. And I mean, I've been there. What I can honestly say, and this is coming from experience, don't try to get your friends into the music that you're listening to. I've learned through experience that all you're going to do is isolate yourself. I know it's very tempting and you want to share that passion, and I'm all there for it, but be mindful that people have other tastes, because yeah, I used to do that a lot when I was younger, especially when I was like 13, 14 years old, after really getting into like Genesis and Emerson, Lake and Palmer and all them, and like forcing my friends to listen to those songs, and they were just being like, it's boring, it's long, it's stupid, I don't like it, it's the worst. So all you're ever going to do is isolate your friends. So if there's any way that you want to make enemies and isolate yourself, as opposed to how to make friends and influence people, that's one way. But definitely share your passion in a very constructive way. And what I mean by that is, if you're given the chance to play a few songs here and there, don't miss your opportunity, but don't shove it down people's throats. Yeah, because I learned that all you're going to do is isolate yourself. So anyway, yeah, good luck with that. I know, I'm sorry. But yeah, okay, so I need to scroll back up a little bit. Let's see here. Devin's a big Cardiacs fan. Yes, I can see that. I can definitely see how Devin Townsend's a Cardiacs fan. Artists that I can't get into. Gangster rap and like early punk, those I could never get into because they weren't made for me and I just don't have the context for it. So anything along those lines. Have I checked out Sing to God from the Cardiacs yet? No, I haven't. I unfortunately haven't had the time. I mean, I listened to Ants of Infinity. Who else could be influenced by? Yeah, okie dokie. Looks like we've got some youngsters in the folks. Hello! Oh man, am I going to be the oldest one? Most of the time I'm the youngest one in the crowd whenever it comes to talking about prog, because most of the time I'm talking to like 40, 50, 60, 70-year-old guys. I mean, it's good to see that the younger generation's really getting into this music, so that I'm very, very pleased of. So that is fantastic. And keep it going for sure. Let's see here. Why aren't we all on Instagram taking selfies or something? Yeah, that's true. I'll start posting selfies to my Instagram account. Let's see here. It looks like this has really sparked a note of conversation. That's great. This is fantastic. Let's see here. Big stuff for Dream Theater. Yeah. Let's see. Here's some streamer of YouTube that loves old school hard rock and metal. Woohoo! Tried to get friends into Genesis through the Brazilian. Yeah, that's a good one. My go-to to try to get friends into Genesis was Duke, because at least it has Misunderstanding, and the Duke Suite at the end of the album is pretty accessible for a prog track. So that's all right. 32. Hey, that's very close to my age, if not actually my age. So yeah. Let's see here. Bands. What's your opinion of band IQ, and what's your favorite album from them? I love IQ. IQ is probably. I'm just fact checking myself here. Yep, they are probably my favorite neo-prog band. I mean, Marillion and Arena come kind of close, even Frost, but just the consistency of all of their albums are so great. And I mean, I want to say his name is Mike Holmes, and Peter Nichols. Unfortunately, they've gone through a number of drummers and keyboardists and bass players through the years, but those two seem to be the two consistent ones. Really, really love IQ. Favorite album from them is probably the album that I first got introduced to them, which is Dark Matter. which is a shame because I think it's one of the only albums that isn't on Spotify, which kind of sucks. But yeah, that's really, really good. Let's see here. Oh, looks like we're getting quite a bit of conversation now. Let's see here. Do I have an update on my Hawkeye Twofold video? Yes, General Spinoni. I'm actually recording that with my next Worst to Best, as well as the Jolly album review. So I'm hoping to do those 3 videos for the next coming week, because I already have the 3 videos for this week recorded, and that's actually my plan to edit after I'm done this. The problem, and I'll talk about this a little bit more in my review, but since you're here, I don't want to say problem. Challenge maybe would have been the better word that I had, is because it's EDM or EDM, yeah, electronic dance music, EDM. So I'm not familiar with that style, so I didn't really have a point of reference to get to. So I was really going in with nothing. So I kind of had to build up from the ground floor, and I didn't want that to be a handicap or a hindrance to the album review that I was going to put out. So I needed to spend a little bit more time with it just to understand the music that was going on. But rest assured, that's coming out. If everything goes to plan, it should come out the week after this current week coming up. So no later than the beginning of August for sure. Again, apologies, and you will actually be getting 1 and 2. So you'll be getting both sides of that. I plan to do that both in a single video. Okay, let's see here. 50-year-old son will be helping out at Prog stock. Where your people. Oh, that's awesome. I mean, I love the fact that these it's skipping generations, but it's still like the generations, right? Because I was influenced by my dad, and then if I had kids about this time or even a little bit younger, then their generation, so I can kind of see where that's going, right? Let's see here. Bryson is saying 19. We'll start when he's 12. For sure, yeah. So I'm glad that we're able to kind of come together as like this, because I wish I had this kind of community when I was a kid. And that's one of the things that I was very cognizant of when I started this whole endeavor, is I wanted to create a really healthy and supportive community for people to go to, for discovering progressive rock music, for celebrating progressive rock music, to say, hey, I also understand that this is an amazing form of music, and just because, you know, the general populace at the moment isn't seeing that, doesn't mean that it's not true. So I definitely wanted to set that up, and I'm glad that it's actually working. Yay! Let's see here. Thoughts on Anecdoten. Really love their stuff. Really looking forward to any new endeavor. Their latest album was really, really good. I really like that. I do think that they hug a little too closely to Engelard, or Engelard, or however you pronounce their name. But still, really, really good. When's the new IQ record coming? I think they said that it's going to be this fall. I want to say it's September or November, but it is definitely coming. They've already released the artwork for it, and I want to say it's called... Is it called The Resistance? I want to say it's like The Resistance or something. So I'm excited. I wasn't a big fan of Road of Bones, but I know a lot of people loved Road of Bones. I'm not a big fan of it. I keep coming back to it like once every other year or so just to see if I can get what everybody's gushing about, but it's just not for me. Let's see. I recently found out Tim Smith from the Cardiacs at the Yes did at Queen's Park. Oh, how about that? That's really cool. Let's see here. Fear of a Blank Planet. So that skipped. Let's go back up. Fear of a Blank Planet or Raven. Ooh, that's hard. Oh, that's hard. Why would you make me do that? Why would you make me do that? There's a fly buzzing around my apartment. Raven. That hurts. That hurts a lot, but I gotta say Raven. Yeah. Let's see here. Prog 116. Woo! Yay, all these people. Haha. Do I have a favorite concept album? Oh, that's interesting. Do I have a favorite concept album? I know a lot of concept albums that I love. That is hard. Oh, I want to skip that one. I'm so sorry. There's so many good concept albums. Let's see here. Oh, yeah. I'm just reading General Spinovi's comment there. Yeah, I always love being pushed out of my comfort zone, so I actually appreciate that. So yeah, no, thanks for that. I do. I genuinely enjoy getting pushed out of my comfort zone. I mean, who wouldn't? If you like progressive rock, that's why you come to progressive rock. Just get pushed out of your comfort zone to be like, hey, you know what music can do? This. You're going to sink or swim. So yeah, I really, really like that. Oh, interesting. Yeah, Charles Smith was saying that his gateway was Fragile. Not so much into Yes anymore compared to other bands. I mean, as a gateway, you can't get much better than Fragile. Did really good stuff. Resistance, I thought so. My memory hasn't failed me yet. I'm getting old, but not that old. Did I check out the movie yesterday? I really want to. I never got a chance to. Again, that time thing. Yeah, and seeing that Fragile is the favorite album, you can't go wrong with Fragile. Really, really love it. Arguably, yeah. And you're going to find out about that with one of the album reviews that I'm going to be dropping, hopefully, tomorrow. If I end this soon, I'm going to edit and upload. Kind of looking forward to you guys checking that one out. I'm super excited for that. Do I think Radiohead is the best rock band since the Beatles? Nope, I don't. I'm sorry. I love Radiohead and I love what they do, but to say that they're the best rock since the Beatles? No. I mean, how can I when bands like Genesis, just, let's see, what other ones? Ooh, I got the hiccups. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of really great stuff out there. But I can appreciate, wow, my brain just went like, hey, I'm going to leave for a bit. Okay, let's see here. Yeah, I looked it up. Almost the same artwork. Yeah. Yeah, it looks like September's really coming in to be some good times. Let's see here. It keeps jumping on me. Still Life and In My Arms, concept albums, and Ghost Reservoir. Yeah, I like how Ghost Reservoir, they went in with the idea of... oh, hey, Carly. How's it going? They went into the studio thinking that it was going to be a concept album, and then I believe they recorded that last song, and they're like, oh, we can't, this doesn't fit into that concept that we had. And then they took that concept and applied it to Watershed, so I'm not complaining because I freaking love Watershed. One of my favorites. But yeah, it's, oh boy. Okay, my brain just keeps falling off here. Do I know or like the band Failure? I haven't heard it, so yeah, I can't really yay or nay that. Let's see here. Influence music but doesn't fully fit into the prog banner. I can agree with that, Charles Smith. Yeah, saying that generally prefer bands that are influenced by progressive music but don't fully fit into the prog banner. Yeah, I mean, the one that stands out the most is probably like Muse. What other bands kind of fit that I really, really like? I mean, a lot of the post-rock outfits kind of fit that banner as well. So yeah, I can understand that. It keeps jumping on me. Oh, good. Let's see here. Might be seeing Yesterday tomorrow. Yeah, I've heard mixed things about Yesterday, but on the overall, it sounds like it's been a good time. Let's see here. That's kind of cute, what Charles Smith was saying. Beatles were the sketch, Cardiacs were the oil painting. I could kind of see that. I can kind of see that. Let's see here. Ooh, somebody is saying that... yeah, Yesterday only got a 4 out of 10. It's weird, because I love Across the Universe. Like, that's probably one of my all-time favorite movies. I remember just bawling my eyes out when I saw that in the theater. And I think I saw it like 2 or 3 times. And that really takes me back to when I first moved out. Like, I was 19 when that came out. So, like, that whole soundtrack, it still, like, brings me, like, transports me right back to when I first moved out. So, so good. Yeah, Conjuration, Isolation Years, that was the one. Yeah, they wrote Conjuration Years for Ghost Reservoirs, and they're like, yeah, this doesn't fit into that occult, haunted family kind of essence. So yeah, let's see here. Yeah, General Spumoni, I'm on you for that. Somebody was he was saying that doesn't really view Radiohead as a rock band, but much more of an experimental indie band. I can get behind that. As you were saying, basically from Kid A onwards, they did start off in that kind of like grunge rock, Brit rock from the early 90s. That a lot of bands were putting out at that time, like even Muse was kind of putting out, like with Showbiz and whatnot. Like Pablo Honey and the Bends sounded very much like that alternative rock, and it wasn't until OK Computer that they really left that like grunge alternative rock scene. So yeah, let's see here. Adam was saying how he loves Hassan Peel. Starts like it's almost a ballad, then hits you brutality. Agreed. That's what like made me like it blew my head when I first listened to that, and that's how I actually got into Opeth. Watershed was the first album I got from them. So when it was released in 2008, I was really into like vinyl at the time, but nobody was putting out vinyl. And there was a local music store, Music World, that was in the Georgia Mall, because I grew up in Barrie, Ontario. And they had the Opeth album there. And at that point, I was really getting into progressive rock, like really deep diving and searching out stuff instead of just managing whatever was on my dad's record list. And I had seen Opeth again and again and again and again and again in a lot of different like forums that I was viewing. They were all over Prog archives, and when I saw them, I'm like, you know what? I'll give these guys a chance. I'll pick up the vinyl because at that point, you can buy the vinyl for like $18 and get the CD for free. So that's what I did, and it just changed me. Like I was terrified. I remember putting it on, and that first track is like so soothing. I'm like, okay, a folky, dark aspect. I kind of like this. And then you get into the second track, and like I had to hide. I was just like, what is coming through my speakers? I don't like this. I don't like this. I don't like this. But the more I listened to it, the more I finally fell in love with it. So that's my little story for that. Let's scroll back up. What is my opinion of Toby Driver? I don't have an opinion because I don't know them. I'm so sorry. Let's see here. GVR Rush 2012. Oh, GVR, an OG fan. I remember when you were commenting on my videos way back in the day. Oh, man, you were like one of the first real subscribers I had. So shout out to you for sticking around. Anyway, let's see. Elder. I've heard of Elder. I haven't had a chance to really look into them, though. Ian is pitting Foxtrot against Fragile. Foxtrot. As much as I love Fragile, Foxtrot will come out on top for that one. How do I really sell Porcupine Tree to my friends? Well, he is a Prog fan. He claims Porcupine Tree are peak neckbeard music. Oh, that is a harsh stand. You need to have a chat with your friend, because that's kind of a toxic ideology if you're thinking that way. Like I can see where he's coming from, but definitely have a chat with him if that's his mentality. You might also need to show him a mirror, because I find individuals that have that idea and that mentality about music and music listening experiences. Like it's one thing if he doesn't like the music. I'm assuming it's a he. Yeah, he says. It's one thing to like just not like music for whatever it is, but to not like it because it's neckbeard music. Like, what does that even mean? Like, I can understand, like, nasal gaving or pretentious or things like that. I mean, it sounds like you're not going to be able to sell it to him anyway, which is a real shame. It sounds like he's got, like, a very narrow, and it's really hard to break down the barriers for somebody that's got that kind of mentality, which is a real shame because they're missing out on some beautiful music by doing that. I mean, honestly, you might want to paint him to the bone. Maybe get him in that way. You can also try Stupid Dream. I really enjoy Stupid Dream for what they try to do for that. So good luck. Sounds like you need to have a bigger conversation with that friend, though. I want a best to worst Kansas. Oh, man. That'd be fun. That'd definitely be fun. So yeah. Pyramid Head. Neckbeard. Okay, so before anybody else chimes up with a neckbeard, a neckbeard, you can also Google and read it, but essentially a neckbeard is a young gentleman who doesn't take care of themselves aesthetically, and doesn't shower all that much, doesn't trim the beards, lets it grow, but not in any kind of a stylish way, hence neckbeard. Generally a little bit of the antisocial in a very awkward way. Think that they're a little bit better than anybody else kind of a way. I mean, that mentality and that type of labeling of individuals is, I always think, kind of counterintuitive and like toxic in ways, because it kind of limits conversations that you could have with individuals. Now you can use it to kind of wake people up and being like, yeah, don't act in such a pretentious way, like, but yeah, anyway, that's essentially what a neckbeard is. Yeah. Let's scroll back up here. What do I think of the RIO movement? I'm not sure. I don't know what that stands for. I'm sorry. It looks like everybody's saying Foxtrot. Except for Bryson. Bryson, hold that flag high. You keep fighting that good fight for Fragile. Fragile needs a little bit more love. Because, yeah, even though I picked Foxtrot, Fragile is still a fantastic album. You champion that. I love that. Frost. Yes, listen to Frost. Listen to Frost. Frost is so good. General Spumoni is saying Frost. General Spumoni, you in particular, I think, would really like Frost. They only released 3 albums. Million Town, Experiments in Mass Appeal, and Falling Satellites. Their first 2 albums, as well as their live album, are fantastic. So start with Million Town, because Million Town's a little bit more happy, juvenile, more in the traditional prog atmosphere. The starting and closing track off of that album are brilliant. Black Light Machine is also fantastic. Then get into Experiments in Mass Appeal. It's a little bit darker, it's a little bit more sharp, but still fantastic. Godspeed You Black Emperor. Thoughts? Love them. Love them, love them, love them. They're fantastic. One of my favorite bands. I mean, I can say that for so many different bands, but really, really love them. Luciferian Towers, the album they put out a couple years ago, is probably my favorite from them. I can't listen to that album without weeping. So good. So good. Everybody's saying about neckbeard, so I hope I cleared that up. And honestly, if you think somebody is a neckbeard, just enter them into a conversation. It's the best way to curt that. Because I also find like it's a very narrow mind view and just limits the conversation. So just get them into a conversation. And you'll find that they're probably upstanding individuals that just need a little bit of help. Probably in the social aspect. Let's see here. I was going to ask on thoughts. Oh, I'm glad that I covered that. Let's see here. Doug McCollin is saying, hey, got some questions. Well, leave them down below. Hopefully I'll get to them. Let's see here. When is a film considered pretentious? Ooh, that is a good question, because there are certain, when a film is considered pretentious. There are certain, like, art films that I think could be a little pretentious when, because it's a really fine line between being smart and being pretentious. I think when they're looking down the audience, when instead of trying to like open a conversation or trying to make you think of something, they're essentially just standing there being like, "Look how smart I am!" Ha ha ha. Because I mean, even movies like Adaptation with Nicolas Cage. That's oh shoot, who's that director? Capote. Not Capote. Why do I think his name is Capote? He's the guy that wrote Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind and Being John Malkovich. His films can get a little bit pretentious, but like not to the point where it's a disadvantage. It's more of like, I'm trying to get you to think, as opposed to, look how smart I am. So I think that's the real dividing line there. So yeah, I think it's the same with all art, right? If the art isn't trying to get you to think, and all it's trying to do is to say, look how smart I am, I think that's the dividing line between like really good art and pretentiousness. Because you can be pretentious without being smart. Yeah, I'm going to leave that before I dig a hole. But yeah. What are your thoughts of Silence to Somewhere, and how would you rate it between 1 and 10? Silence to Somewhere. I'm not familiar with that one. I'm so sorry, Doug. Let's see here. What I think Porcupine Tree would be for stoners, industrial music lovers, or people that are more of the feminine side of things, more towards the solo work, but I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I agree, Pyramid Head. I would definitely agree. Like, I mean, even if you look at his covers album, very feminine in the best possible way. Like, his take on Thank You is just, mwah, it's so good. So good. I wish more musicians were, like, able to take that step. Let's see here. I heard that Opeth almost put growls on the song River, but they rejected that idea. Yeah, I don't think I need it. I don't think I need I'm good without the growls at this point. Let's see here. The Monsoon Bassoon were a very good, if obscure band. I mean, I love the sound. Monsoon Bassoon. I just like saying that. Monsoon Bassoon. Let's see here. Yeah, Quick Shepherd. Yeah, that's true. Notes, he's very stuck in your ways. I tried to show him the up the downstairs, trying to prove that. Yeah, I can see up the downstairs being that. Like, I can understand where that's coming from, because that was still when Steven was trying to find himself. As I said, probably try Lightbulb Sun or Stupid Dream. That'll probably be a little bit more. Song for Africa, Leftoverture, and debut. Yeah, I mean, Leftoverture is the only one that I'm very familiar with. But yeah. Let's see here. Oh man, it looks like people are retracting their messages. Oh well. That's okay. Let's see here. Blackfield, first 2 album stuff is not bad. Introducing. Yeah, I'll agree. GVR is very true. The second album from them is my favorite. There's a lot of really dark stuff on that one album, though. Favorite subreddit? I'm not a Reddit user. Yeah. So, I'm not too sure about that. Let's see here. Am I a fan of Scott Walker? I am. I love Scott Walker, man. His partnership with Sun O a couple years ago. Oh boy, it still gives me chills. It just thinking about it, I'm like, it's great stuff. Great stuff. If you love that avant-garde noise rock experimentation, everything but the chicken sink in there, so good. It's so good. Yeah, talking about Frankie Danks. To Pimp a Butterfly. I still haven't been able to get into it. But I know that it's really, really good. That's what a lot of people have been saying with. I really wish that I could get into that. Okay, so looks like we're talking a little bit about that. I'm just going to scroll through because it looks like there's a lot of great conversations. That's great. Camel. Hey, yeah, I love Camel. Ooh, Moon Madness is their best one. That's a tasty take. I personally love Snow Goose. I really love Snow Goose. I mean, that's because I'm a literature nerd, but yeah. Let's see here. Man, there's so many good questions coming in. This is probably the most amount of engagement I've had. Let's see here. Lars von Trier. Let's see here. You reviewed that album. Oh, Wobbler! Okay, yeah. Had you said Wobbler, I would have been into that. Yeah, I really like Wobbler. I find like they're a really good kind of accessible entry point to that kind of avant-garde retro prog stuff. Kind of like similar to what like Adendon. Oh boy, why can't I say it? Anecdoton and Hybris were doing, but a little bit more accessible, a little bit more like entry point. So really enjoyed that. Did I answer Anthony's comment yet? Oh, I don't know. Oh boy, there's so many comments coming on. I don't know. Let me scroll up a little bit to see if I answered his comment. Anthony. Oh no, it's too far gone. It's too far. No, I can't do them all. I can't say them all. I'm so sorry. Let's see here. Have I heard the album called Move to Pain by Sons of Magdalene. Sons of Magdalene. I have not. Hopefully I'll be able to do it. Oh, I saw a really good one, but it jumped. Do I miss Blockbuster? Yes, I do. I really do. Growing up, we didn't we had Blockbuster much later on. In fact, I remember when I was like young, and I did a road trip to Toronto, and my uncle took me to a Blockbuster, and we rented all the Alien movies, like the Ridley Scott one, then James Cameron, and then the rest of them. But no, we had Jumbo Video for a while there, and then in Barrie we had Bandito Video, and Bandito was there for a long time. So yeah, I still miss it, but the library has all the movies for free. You just need to return it after a week. So there's my little pitch about going to the library, because it's the same thing. It's just free this time. Am I familiar with Fate's Warning? Yeah, I am familiar with Fate's Warning. I think I have their Warrior album in my discography here. Their latest album was pretty solid. Really liked their stuff. I can't talk about their whole discography just because, yeah. Here's a deep cut. Camel's Mirage versus Vandergraaf's. Ooh, that's a good one. Probably God's Bluff, just because how solid it is. Camel's Mirage has a little bit of touch and go at the beginning, like Lady Fantasy ends it off, and that's a really, really good like final track there. But God's Bluff is so solid from start to finish, and Sleepwalkers at the end, oh man, that's good though. That's a really good cut. Let's see here. Do we still have one in USA? I think you guys do have a single Blockbuster in USA. I think you guys do. Chris Stuckman did a video about that. If you're not following Chris Stuckman, definitely do. He reviews movies, and he's a big inspiration for me. Listen to The Human Equation. I feel like you have an emotional connection with this album. What's my favorite Death album? Like Death Metal or Death the band? Because I'm not familiar with Death as a band. Like, I know they exist, and I know the kind of music that they do. I just haven't had the chance to listen to them, so I can't say. Death Metal album, though? I really like the Faceless. Although, are they death metal? Yeah, I'd say they're death metal. Yeah, they're their Ghosts album. Really like that one. But I'm glad you like The Human Equation. Yeah, definitely have an emotional connection to them. Let's see here. Oh man, you guys keep commenting. This is great, but it means I have to. Came back to Mood Madness. Yeah. Another Night, I believe that bass line from Mood Madness is just... let's see here. I love Nod and a Wink as well. Yeah. Favorite Yes song? Awaken. Really love Awaken. Currently getting into Vandergraaf. Love Vandergraaf. I tried, actually, Vandergraaf, little bit of spoiler here. Vandergraaf was going to be my next worst to best band that I was going to cover. And I started to re-listen to their discography just to get into it. And I was really into Vandergraaf when I was in a very dark time. I had some things going on in my life that was not the best. So when I started to listen to that, a lot of those emotions started to come back. And I wasn't really quite in the right headspace to get back into that yet. It was just a very unpleasant time. So I tabled that, and I will actually get to it in the future. I don't know when. So anyway, just a little tidbit there. Still a fantastic band. Definitely get into that. Let's see here. No one should ever dislike Michael's clean. Yep. Yeah, his clean vocals at the moment I probably like a little bit more. Let's see here. Crime of the Century versus Hope. Oh, Hope. You can't knock down Hope. Like, as much as I love Crime of the Century, like, they both do very similar things, but by the end, I am inconsolable when I listen to Hope. Whereas Crime of the Century, I'm just very emotional. So, same energy, but I think Hope hits me a little bit harder. Am I a fan of Mostly Autumn? I am, yeah. What was the one album that I really liked from them? I can't remember. I can picture the album cover where it's like very pastel and she's sitting there. Really like that. Yeah, I can't name it. Let's see here. A lot of prog music seems to be labeled as dark music. Why do you think that is? Do you think there is such a thing as too dark when it comes to music that drowns in loathing and depression? I don't think anything can be too something when it comes to music. I do agree that... let's see here. Yeah, General Spumoni was talking about this. I do agree that prog, currently, the zeitgeist has been very dark, and I think it's been that way since probably about 10 years ago. It got really, really dark. And it still kind of is. Like, it's very angsty. It's very dark. Yeah, dark is the best way that I could put it. You know, there were some exceptions, like Moon Safari, but even like bands that were really, really happy, like the last two albums from the Flower Kings were quite dark. And I find like even music that's very happy, it generally isn't all that great. But I mean, Moon Safari is still one of my favorite bands because they champion that celebratory aspect of that very happy thing. Now, I don't know if anything could be too dark. I knew that we spent a little bit too much time in this, but I hope that we can get up there. Okay, Alex is saying that struggled to decide whether I like Firth the Fifth or Cinema Show better. I'm just curious what specifically puts Firth the Fifth slightly over the edge for you. Firth the Fifth, what puts it over the edge for me is twofold. The introductory grand piano, or I guess keyboard introduction, and then the reintroduction of it at the halfway mark before we get into the Steve Hackett play out and how it builds, because they introduce it at the beginning, reintroduce it first, have a little bit of a bridge, and then they introduce it again. And when they reintroduce it again, Phil Collins on the drum is just breathtaking. But also the lyrical content is what also puts it over to me, because as much as I love the lyrical content and the metaphor of the Cinema Show, I also really love the actual philosophical aspect of Firth the Fifth, and just that ending line of the sands of time were eroded by the river of constant change. The poetry of that puts it over the edge for me. So yeah, a lot of messages being redacted. You guys, come on, stick your guns. Okay. Ooh, I gotta scroll up for a lot of these. God Bluff is amazing. Let's hear it. Love Chris Stuckman. Woo, another Chris Stuckman fan. Yeah. Death is amazing. Yeah, I know. Oh, a soul we lost. Oh, I didn't realize that he. Death are technically Faceless are technically death metal deathcore. Okay, cool. So I was kind of close. God Bluff is just a good call. Woohoo! Guess Stuckman Eyes. That's right. Neil Peart comes to mind for my favorite lyricists. Yeah, for sure. For sure. Is Vandergraaf dark? Dark themes. Yeah, I find that they're very dark, but they're also very for me, it's much more aggressive and trying to think of the right term here. Angsty? I think angsty is a good term. Because one of my favorite albums from them is Still Life, but a lot of concepts on there, like La Rosa and Still Life itself, are very dark in theme. Like La Rosa is about an individual that's had this love for this other person, and they're finally making it known. And like that's very close to what I was experiencing at that time, and just like the angst that's felt with that, I'm just like, I don't know if I really want to revisit that at the moment. But even like Scorched Earth and Arrow, Sleepwalkers, I mean, a lot of their songs deal with very dark concepts and very angsty constructs as well. So yeah, let's see here. Yeah, and even Charles Smith was saying, can't really think of anything that's darker than Vandergraaf offhand. Favorite and least favorite Star Wars movie? Ooh, that's a good question. Favorite Star Wars movie? You know, I really, really love The Force Awakens. I really love that film. Can I say it's my favorite, though? I could probably, I saw that opening day because I got the times mixed up, and I went to the 7:30 morning show as opposed to the 7:30 evening show. So maybe it's just the memory that I had and being surrounded by all these nerds at the time. It was just great. Least favorite, though, Clone Wars. I wasn't a big fan of Clone Wars. Yeah, Clone Wars. Love Star Wars, though. Thoughts of Octavarium. Ooh, sorry. The album. Loved it. Probably one of my all-time favorites, like that. And Scenes from Memory are probably my two favorites. Yes, that's it. The Last Bright Light. Oh, that was such a good album. I love the ending piece on that. So good. Thanks for bringing that up. I was going to. Oh boy. Let's see here. I'm going to have to call it a night because if I want to edit this video. Do I listen to Queens of the Stone Age? Yeah, from time to time. I like a couple of their songs. Can't remember any off the top of my head, but I really like that. Let's see here. Everybody's just so chatty tonight. That is awesome. Good job. Let's see here. Everyone should listen to Reams of Kindo. Okay. Oh, I think I finally reached the bottom of these comments. Let's see here. Is there any artist or album that I could recommend for dark electronic genre? Ooh. Dark electronic genre. I'll have to put my thinker hat on. Nothing's coming to mind. Oh, did I really say Season of a Memory? Oh boy. Yeah, that's how my brain's working these days. What do I think of the new Radiohead album that will come out? Oh, I didn't realize they were putting out one. I know that Tom York put out a new solo album, but I didn't realize that they were coming together. Excited. Each of their albums are so very different. So yeah. Favorite Can album? You know, I never got into Can, so I can't say. I know I have like an introductory Prog CD from way back when, and there were a couple of Can tracks on there, but I can't honestly remember. Oh, what's the song that I'm listening to right now? So this is Griffin. This is N. Klein. This is one of my favorites. So I think after this, I'm going to call it a night because this is the last track on my my Happy Tunes. This will cap off the Happy Tunes. This, I might actually have to stop everybody and just appreciate the sound that's going to be coming in, because the ending piece of this is just brilliant beyond all measure. Griffin's a great band. Their one album, Red Queen to Griffin 3, is one of my all-time favorites. And this album, the follow-up album, was okay, but the ending piece of this was just so good. Ooh, excuse me. Let's see here. Oh, now everybody's playing off of the Dream Theater set. Love that. Would I consider Flower Kings and Spock's Beard the Led Zeppelin of Prog? No, I would not, because Led Zeppelin's already the Led Zeppelin of Prog. I mean, if we were to make that kind of a comparison, I mean, they kind of are in terms of like the retro Prog outfit, but that is just one facet of the Prog sphere. And I mean, if I were to kind of make that comparison, I would almost want to put Porcupine Tree, because at least Porcupine Tree has a little bit of a crossover into the general populace. But I still stand by my statement of Led Zeppelin is the Led Zeppelin of Prog. People keep retracting their statements. Stand by your statements, guys. Own it. Own it. Don't worry. This is a safe space. You can say whatever you want, and I'll shoot down anybody that naysays you. Do I like Bob Dylan? No, I'm not a big fan of Bob Dylan. I think he's better as a poet than he is of a musician. I can appreciate what he did for music, but I'm just not a big fan. I like his work in the Traveling Wilburys, though. Let's see. I saw a really popular album at the record store for $15 on the 3rd. The third one, I think. Yes. Pick that up. Pick that up immediately. Worth every single penny. Every single penny of that is. What is the first 20-plus song you would recommend to someone who is trying to get into the prog genre? Ooh, that is a good question. I mean, Supper's Ready was the first one that I listened to, although the first one that I heard was The Revealing Science of God, and I wanted to leave, but it was also my first concert, and that was the Yes concert that I went to, and I just kept sitting there looking at my watch being like, when will it be over? So boring. I mean, now I can appreciate it, but I remember when I was first listening to that, so... first 20-minute plus song I would recommend. It also depends on where you're starting from, because that also can help. Because if there's like a branch that I can grab onto, and because I know Japan X has a 30-minute song, and that's really good, because it's a little bit more accessible. So yeah. Yeah, nothing's really coming to mind. It's also kind of late for me. Like, I'm starting to get really tired. Question, V or snow? Ooh. Huh. Snow. As much as I love V, I feel like it dips in the middle. But The Great Nothing and At the End of the Day, those two songs are fantastic. But the rest of the album is just kind of like take it or leave it. Whereas Snow is consistently good for a double album, which is hard to pull off. Let's see here. What are your thoughts on Mike the Music Snob? Oh, that's who he is. Yeah, I followed him on Twitter. I don't know enough about Mike the Music Snob to really tell you too much about him. Yeah. Hopefully he's a good guy. I hope to check out some of his videos. Let's see here. The Lizard Suite. Oh, interesting. I find the Lizard Suite gets a little bit inaccessible by the end there, though. Definitely the first little bit, and especially near the jazz session, near the midpoint, gets a little bit off the kilter for somebody that's not used to something like that, but that might be good. 21-112 is also pretty good. Shiny Crazy Diamonds is actually a very good idea, especially the full suite. Very good, at least to give them an idea of that. Let's see here. Edge of Sanity, I kind of remember. Nevermore. Yeah, this is like the second time somebody has mentioned Nevermore. Okay, cool, thanks. Raider 2 is probably one of his all-time favorite 20-plus minutes. I mean, you got one there. And if you really like Raider 2, then you might want to try the Vandergraaf Generators 2. They've got 2. They've got Plague of the Lighthouse Keeper and Mowgli's 3. Might dig those. Just trying to think of those darker ones. You might actually enjoy Lizard then. Shiny Crazy Diamonds for sure then. Yeah. Let's see what we've got here. Oh, I think I finally reached the bottom again. I have not heard Snow live yet. Unfortunately, it's behind that paywall that I can't get into. So, yeah. Never used Patreon, but I really want to start supporting you. Is there a way to do a one-time donation or is it monthly support? Ooh, I do have a month, like a one-time donation, but I think it's only locked at $1. I haven't had a chance to go in there, so maybe I tried to make like a tip jar where you could set your own price and it's just a one-time only thing. Let me do a little bit more research and get back to you. I'll tweet it out whenever I finish that. So follow me on Twitter and I'll be able to hopefully get that up and running because I would like people to be able to support me however they want to. The other way you can do it is also just support me the 1 month, and that's like a one-time thing, and then just can cancel. A few people have done that as well, which I'm 100% perfectly fine with. Yeah, so anyway, here is the part that I'm going to just kind of stop and appreciate, because I friggin' love this. This is where the song gets really good, so I'm going to turn it up a little bit. Okay, here we go. This video is also probably going to get pulled, so here we go. Get ready. It's coming up. Play that oboe! Get it! And then the guitar solo. Here it comes. I think that's a keyboard, but the guitar's coming up, don't worry. The effect that he has is just so... Yeah. Talk about taking a riff for a walk. So freaking good. Okay, I completely missed anything that was going on, so I'm so sorry. Okay, so I'm going to get to these questions, and then we're going to call it a night, y'all, because I got some editing that I need to do. Okay, it's on YouTube. Oh, is it a YouTube? Okay. I'll have to check it out on YouTube then. Favorite director? Favorite director? David Lynch. The full suite of Lateralis is the songs. Yeah, I can see that. Yeah. That's a good triad. Happy Notes is Happy Notes is the best notes. Yeah. friggin' love it. Let's see here. Oh, it looks like it didn't miss too much. That's good. I hope everybody kind of really appreciated that as the song starts to play out. Do I listen to black metal? Every once in a while, if the feeling's right. Okay, so I think we're going to call that a night, because it looks like my time there is at an hour and a half, and I don't want to go any longer than that. Most of my mixes go for about an hour and 20 minutes, because I like that. Do you like jazz? Yes, I do like jazz. I really like Herbie Hancock, I really enjoy. Really like Miles Davis, Bitches Brew, and In Blue. Coltrane every once in a while. Yeah. Okay, so that's about it. That was my mix. That was my Happy Tunes Volume 18, or Happy 18. Finally an adult here in Canada. You get to do everything but drink, I think, because you have to be 19 in order to do that. So that's about it. Hope that this doesn't get taken down, but as I mentioned before, there was a lot of really big music on that playlist, so chances are it will probably get taken down, but if not, you can, I mean, if it is, then this was very exclusive, 30 people that got to listen to it. So yeah, I hope everybody has a fantastic night. Hope everybody has a fantastic week going ahead. Hope everybody's enjoying their summer. And yeah, just keep doing what you're doing. And I'm going to steal something from Critical Role, which is don't forget to love everybody, and don't forget to love yourself and everybody out there, and lots of love. Wow, that was really bad. There we go. There's a heart for you. So yeah, that's about it for me. Thanks everybody for coming out and keeping it civil and making this a really good time. So yeah. Until next time, notes out.